Welcome back. This month, around 44 million Americans had their student loan payments resume after they were paused for 3 years during the pandemic. Here in Michigan, more than 1 million people have education loans.
At the same time, Michigan's population growth has slowed down to the extent that Governor Whitmer appointed a chief growth officer. In Lansing, 2 bills have been proposed by West Michigan Democrats that would create a tax credit for Michiganders who are paying off their student loans.
So joining us tonight from the state capitol is State Representative Phil Skaggs, a Democrat representing parts of the Grand Rapids area. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here.
So we know that you're a sponsor of these bills. What are you hoping to accomplish with them?
So there's really 2 goals that we're trying to meet here. One is a very personal goal. I'm a father, and like all parents, we want our kids to be safe, healthy, and nearby. So we're trying to give our graduates, kids that come out of our high schools and colleges, the opportunity to stay in Michigan by giving them an incentive to stay here. The other issue that we're trying to solve that we hear from businesses both small and large is that we have a talent deficit here in Michigan that we need to rectify in order to bring businesses in, create good paying jobs. So from nurses to teachers to insurance industry specialists, I hear almost every day that businesses want talent. So what this bill does is it builds on what we have done already here in Lansing with the Achievement Scholarships. This is about $5,000 up front for students to go to college every year. And that's extremely important to give affordability and accessibility to colleges. What this bill package does, and we're calling the Make It in Michigan grant, is to work on the back end of after graduation. So it's wonderful if we help our own kids graduate from college, get the talent necessary to be successful. But if they go to the Sun Belt or to Chicago or the coasts or heaven forbid, even Ohio, it doesn't do us as a state great to grow our population and talent.
Sure. So what's the meat of these bills? What exactly would it offer to those recent graduates? How much of a savings are we talking about?
So the meat of the package is that over 10 years, up to 10 years, if you stay in Michigan and are working in Michigan, we will help you pay back up to half of your student loans. So if you come out of college with $40,000 in student loans and you're paying back $4,000 a year over 10 years, you'll pay back that $4,000, let us know, and we will credit and even reimburse up to $2,000 back to help you have a carrot to stay here in Michigan. Yeah, so over the life of a loan, it could be up to $20,000 to stay.
That is quite the incentive. In the long run, what are you thinking that this will do for the state?
Well, again, businesses want talent, and although we're not going to convince every graduate to stay here, I think what this will do is encourage our college students to graduate and encourage them to stay so that we can grow this economy. So we're still going to lose some of our graduates to their great coastal adventure. Although if they have that for 5 years and then want to come back to Michigan to raise a family, then we'll help them pay off the remainder of those loans. It's up to 4 years of the average public student tuition.
And then it's not just for individuals who have that student loan debt. There's also an aspect here for corporations or the businesses who employ grads. So explain that part of it, and why was it important to include that aspect?
Yeah, so there's 2 additional aspects. One is to help out. There are businesses that are already helping out their employees pay off these loans, which we think is great, and we want to encourage that. So we're giving the businesses that do this the same benefits that the student themselves would get if they're paying it back individually. And then in addition, even if you don't graduate from a Michigan high school or don't graduate from a Michigan college, we will still give you a 25%, so half of the benefit. So if someone who grew up in Ohio, went to an Ohio university, and then wanted to come up here to Michigan to work, then we could give them a benefit as well. So it's not just about talent retention, it's also about talent attraction.
And we know that you have Democratic support so far. Are we hearing anything from your Republican colleagues?
Well, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and some of my Republican colleagues have introduced a very similar bill. So I've been in discussions with them, and we're hopeful that we can make this a bipartisan package. We are really focused here in Lansing on economic development, and I am hopeful that this can be work that we can do in a bipartisan way, because it is not about supporting one industry over another industry or one locality over another locality. This will spread out throughout Michigan, spread out throughout different industries. You don't have to be a saint to be able to take advantage of this tax credit. You don't have to be a teacher or a social worker or a nurse. You just need to have graduated from a Michigan college or a Michigan high school, or for a little bit less, come in from outside of state in order to be able to qualify. So we think that this is going to be beneficial for a wide array of Michiganders. And so we're hopeful to get bipartisan support as we move forward.
All right. Well, we will be following those proposed bills as they move through the legislature. Democratic State Representative Phil Skaggs, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we're back after this.